Hello, good afternoon and good evening to those in South Africa watching. Good afternoon. Those in Cambodia watching, good evening. It's good to be back with you again. My name's Andre. This is Pepper's Echo. You're on the live echo. And thank you very much for watching. For those catching me live, kudos. Thank you. For those watching on the rerun, thank you very much too. And as you know, basically what we do is we take a look at the everyday man in the street from the outside looking in. No hugely researched, biographed, I don't want to say unsubstantiated, because we do try and at least talk about the truth and try not to have fake mail or fake news come up wherever we can. But it's just basically looking from a layman's point of view, going, you know what, I don't know what this is. What is this? And tonight we are hopefully going to be talking a little about the vaccination in South Africa, where it's sitting, how far it's going. Last week we did most of the run on Eskom. I hope possibly to do a little bit of a follow-up on that maybe next week, or should I say the week after, because got good news for next week. I cannot believe it. I am so privileged, so honored, and I am absolutely chuffed to be able to tell you that we have, I have Ronaldo host, the Ronaldo host, Massacant, who's joining us on the Echo. And it's absolutely a privilege that somebody of that caliber and that popular. I mean, usually people just like snivel and snide at little stations or streams like these. And, he's like, yo, dude, not a problem. I'll pop on. He's really, really so nice to speak to on email. I know he's also really, really very busy, but just to be able to put the time aside for someone like Pepper's Echo is unbelievable. So don't forget to catch next week. Do not miss next week. Live 2:00 on South African time, 7:00 Cambodian time. We will have Ronaldo host live on the Echo, and it's going to be really, really cool chatting to him. I can't wait. I'm really, really just thrilled about it, because as I always tell you, what we look at is the news and the views and a couple of things here and there. And if you want to go for the deep dive and scale the bottom of the barrel to pull out all the nitty-gritty and get the facts and the kudos behind it, I always suggest to go and take a look at Ronaldos Channel. It's Ronaldos, Chris Wyatt, Roman Cabernac, Joe Emilio. Roman Cabernac, you look for Morning Shot, and Joe Emilio. They're all really, really cool to actually watch and keep up with things. And as I said, I am absolutely out of my skin, absolutely thrilled to have Ronaldo host on next week. So I am, hoping that we will have a few more people watching than the few that usually watch. But for those few, I am most indebted. Thank you so very, very, very much as well. So formalities quickly. Please like and subscribe to this channel. If you do, also please share. It's the only way that I do get it out there a bit. I am pulling and pushing. I know you've got to do it for a year, 2 years, 3 years before anything actually comes on. But a little bit of a chat work has never killed anyone. And I was actually quite amazed when was it, yesterday? I thought to myself, well, I wonder how many chat channels actually work out, because, do people just get bored of you chatting or what? I take a look at Ronaldo. Ronaldo actually drills down into things quite deeply. Sometimes they just have a lot of fun. I really enjoy his channel. It's something that you would like to watch. But I was actually taking a look, and funnily enough, I was looking at Twitch. And on Twitch, I saw a channel. There's a whole category just chatting. And all of a sudden, let me take a look at these guys. And it's just people talking. They like talking to themselves. One guy's having tea in a restaurant. Excuse me, waiter, when will my biscuits be? Yeah, I have my tea. Yeah, I have my tea. Biscuits, please. And he ordered these like sort of tier tray thing of savories and sweets with his tea. And there he sat and he just chatted. Yeah, we're having this tea and this is looking good. And well, Oh, why are we putting the work into this stuff? Why don't we just have tea and chat? So this evening, I'm just going to have tea and... No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to have tea and chat. Yeah. But yes, you're watching the live echo. Please like and subscribe. And yes, if you, for any reason whatsoever, feel that you would like to come onto the show, if you have something that you would like discussed or spoken about, you don't have to come on if you don't want to. You can just give us an idea for the topic that you'd like to be discussed. Doesn't have to be South African, doesn't have to be Cambodian, can be anything. Doesn't have to be political, can be hobby-wise, can be interest-wise, anything to that effect. Drop us a mail at peppersecho@gmail.com, PEPRSECHO. Yes, it doesn't have a double P in it, doesn't have an E after the P. It is like that, PEPRSECHO@gmail.com. And I would be more than happy to have you on. And yeah, hopefully we can talk some interesting things. I'm hoping that having Ronaldo on will crack the ice as well, and that I can possibly get a few more people on as we go along the line as well. It won't be every single week, but you know what? If I could crack somebody once a month, really got to work on Chris again as well. Chris White, also phenomenally interesting chap as well, which is absolutely wonderful. But otherwise, guys, good to be back. Good to see everyone again. Not going to make it a long one tonight. As you have seen on the clip, it is mainly about the vaccination. And guess what I did last week on Tuesday? Put him there, buddy. Yes, last week, Tuesday, I had my first shot as well. Because we are in Cambodia, we are in schools, and well, I don't teach anymore at the moment, but I'm still with school, so I have to go as well because I'm involved with children and everything, and teachers are seen as frontline. So our whole school went on Tuesday to get our first shot, and we got the Sinovac. I haven't started speaking Mandarin yet, so I do believe that it is fairly successful. I must be honest, didn't feel a thing. It was so well organized. I was most impressed. We went to a school, and which they now just turned into an area where you get vaccinated. And we waited. The only part was in the quad. It was a little bit hot and sunny. But as soon as you went up first thing, have your temperature taken. Your temperature's too hot, you can't go in. Otherwise, in you go. Papers filled out with us. They were really pleasant as well. What a pleasure to be able to have gone there, because you seem to think, oh, geez, you know what, these people have done millions of these. Not millions, but thousands of these. They're tired, they're grumpy. They sat and they worked through everything with us, explained everything with us, translated where they needed to translate, etc. So I went into the one room, and we had our papers filled in and our forms and everything. Off you go to the next room, and then they did your blood pressure, asked you if you had any illnesses, any operations, asthma, heart problems. It's a whole long things that they ask you about, taking medication, what's the kind of medication you're taking, etc., etc. And then when they've taken your blood pressure and everything and the whole toots, and you filled in the form, I'll come around and you pop your thumbprint on the form. They cut off the bottom part, and off you go into the next room. At the same time, you've got a little card that they gave you, which they clip every time you go into a room so that they know which room you've been into. And there we open up your shoulder. You want left, you want right. I have a choice. Nice. And so no, pop it in the side. He's standing that side anyway. So keeps on telling me, well, remember, no heavy lifting, no seafood, no alcohol for 3 days. I'm like, okay. No heavy lifting, no seafood, no alcohol. I'm fine. No heavy lifting. It's okay. Can you just do it for me quickly now? Oh, well, it's done. I didn't even feel it. I was like almost convinced the guy had swabbed my arm and forgotten to actually give me the vaccination. But anyway, and then when you're finished, they write a time down on your card, because you need to spend about 30 minutes there afterwards to see that there's no adverse effects or anything to that effect. And done and dusted, you're on your way. Our next one is anything between the 19th and the end of this month to be able to get our second one, because we got the Sinovac, not the Sinopharm. So we got the Sinovac one. And I must say, I didn't have any side effects. No, my arm wasn't even sore. I wasn't nauseous. I wasn't dizzy. I was tired that evening, but then I'm tired a lot of evenings. The work has been keeping us rather busy and hectic as such. But no, I must say, overall, very pleasant experience for a rather stressful time as such. Before going on to our main news on the vaccines, just a little bit of a condolences as such to the royal family, Britain, everybody as such. Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth's husband, he's passed away at the age of 99. Wow, what a life, what a legacy. The prince passed away peacefully this morning at Windsor Castle, and this was Friday morning, to an emailed statement from the Queen's officials. Despite the death of her husband, and confident during a record-breaking reign, I think she's been on the throne for about 66 years or something. Oh, I don't know, I stand corrected. There is little chance that 94-year-old Queen Elizabeth will abdicate. Royal watchers believe Philip, Elizabeth's husband, for more than 7 decades. So they've been married for like 70 years, just over 70 years. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And was the longest serving consort in British history throughout the 69-year reign. I wanted to go through a whole lot of other things as well. A couple of interesting things. He was always known, and he kept his place. He was probably one of the best, what did they refer to me as, consort that you could have had. He always had to, when doing the visits and things with the Queen, walk 2 steps behind her. 2 steps behind her. But he carried out his royal duties diligently. I can't believe that they were actually saying as well, they had to eventually, they've convinced him to stop driving, I think in 2018, 17 or 18. That's 3 or 4 years ago, which means that he was about 96 when he stopped driving. Apparently through overturned a Land Rover or something like that, and lady's wrist got hurt or something to that effect. But that's, wow. You know what? If I'm driving at the age 96, only thing I'm driving is my wife up the wall. But wow, wow, wow. But yes, condolences there to a well-led life. I'm sure he had his shortcomings, and I'm sure he had his strengths. But I think they were an example to many people in the world being together. And you know, it doesn't matter what you are, as long as you're there for each other and that you love each other. And I think the Queen is going to miss him dearly as such. And I think the world is going to miss him as well. But good man, and salute and condolences. Right, let's get to my Sunday singe. COVID vaccination in South Africa. Now, I really want to take a look at our COVID visualizer. And I want to take a look at a country that only just started vaccinating, Cambodia, where I am. Because those are the 2 countries that I deal with, South Africa and Cambodia. And this little country here just started vaccinating. 1,187,000 vaccinations done already. 753 if you want to pump it in there. We've had a bit of a bad run. Currently, there's a lot of places been locked down. We've also been put into curfew, and they haven't played with it. 8 o'clock in the evening till 5 o'clock in the morning. They've also today stopped alcohol for a week, and I think it's to keep it off over the Khmer New Year time, because on Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, all public holidays, because it is the Khmer New Year, comes to the end of the harvest festival. It's when families and friends and relatives and that all get together. It's a very, very special time on their calendar. And I think they've stopped the sale of alcohol to be able to try and stop these get-togethers, because a lot of these places that have rushed us up, and I know you're looking going 2,057, that's what we get per day, yeah. But for Cambodia, that is a lot. If you were thinking that you were sitting at not even 30 on the 20th of February, excuse me, and now you're over 2,000 already, and that's with quite a couple of people recovering at the same time. But yes, so what I'm looking at, though, however, is this country is a third world country. It doesn't have much resources or anything to that effect. And it's also taking a pretty hard toll at the fact that, it's cash strapped as well. It's, it's not a superpower, but they've vaccinated 1,187,753. Then we go down to a country that's actually having a huge COVID problem, and was supposed to have started rolling out vaccinations, I don't know, long ago, January, February type of thing. And they've done 288,000. Cambodia has basically vaccinated 900,000 more than what South Africa has. South Africa's provided just an immense amount of lip service to this vaccination thing or whatever. 21,000 active, so sure, they've got 10 times more than us. The recovery is also probably 100 times more. I think it's 1 million, and we've just got 1,000 something. But 288,000 vaccines, 4,700 in the last 10 hours. These guys have done 116,000 in the last 10 hours. So it just makes me think, what the hell is South Africa playing at? But we're going to get to that. Let's just take a look. COVID vaccination in South Africa. So South Africa's national vaccination rollout is underway. So we're rolling out the vaccinations. And guys, I know it's a should I, shouldn't I, could I don't want to, I must, I mustn't. It's my right not to. First of all, most of us have put much worse things into our bodies than a COVID vaccination. Second of all, if you want to travel anywhere, get entrance to anywhere, or work anywhere one day, this is going to be a necessity. It has already been put into law in Cambodia today or yesterday as well. It is now mandatory that, excuse me, that everybody in Cambodia has got to get a vaccination, COVID vaccination. So you know what? It's at the point where it's not should I, shouldn't I, it's when will I, or when can I. I do believe, you know what, it's like wearing a mask. It's I shouldn't wear a mask, you must wear a mask, you can't wear a mask, you don't have to wear a mask, you must wear a mask is essential, mask is, you know what, it's going to boil down to wearing a mask, and we're going to end up wearing masks at least until the end of this year, if not a little bit longer. Just my shot in the dark. It's no research or anything done on that. And I do believe, unless you're doing like South Africa and you're not getting your vaccinations rolled out, nothing's really going to happen for us until towards the end of the year, because vaccination is going to take, about 3 months to start kicking in, at least 5 or 6 months for some countries to get their herd immunity working. And then we're only going to be able to open up flight paths, things like that, which is probably going to be pretty expensive then, because they're going to be trying to claw back their losses and expenses and things to that effect, as well as the fact that we are going to need to be vaccinated to travel. I know Cambodia has already said that they are looking at allowing foreign visitors to Angkor Wat in Q4, the fourth quarter of this year, if they are vaccinated. You know what? We're not going to be able to go to work if we're not vaccinated. It's one of those things, and I don't believe it's a bad thing. You know, I'm still skeptical about the whole COVID scenario, but you know what? Let's deal with it and get done. You know, if you've got to get a vaccination to get through this thing, let's get the vaccination. Let's do what we can to actually get through this thing. Because this thing, whether it is a total world pandemic or if it's a world controlling pandemic, we've got to do something to actually get this off us now. It's now past over a year that this has been haunting us, traumatizing us, crippling a lot of people. I think we are still so fortunate and we are so blessed that here in Cambodia, our school is still employing us and we are still being paid. That it's, so many schools have closed down. So many schools have just said, look, no pay until we get people back again, children back. We haven't had our kids at school most of this year. If they were here for a week this year, maybe. But otherwise, they have been online all the time. They've been teaching online. And we have still been taken care of, which I think, is just admirable gratitude going along the way. But South Africa's national vaccine rollout is underway. It's been underway all the time, albeit on a considerably smaller scale than initially planned. Yeah, big talk. We are just over a month into this Sisonke implementation trial, which is immunizing healthcare workers with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and South Africa's medicine regulatory body recently granted emergency approval for Pfizer's jab. At the start of the year, the health department unveiled their plan to vaccinate 40 million South Africans. 40 million, that's over 50% of the nation, or the population. As part of a 3-phase rollout, they said 67% of the population would need to be vaccinated in order to achieve herd immunity. Okay, so what is herd immunity? So we've heard about herd immunity. So what is herd immunity? Herding them in. Come on, get a sheepdog. We can herd this stuff around. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Right, herd immunity. It means that enough people are protected from the disease, such as COVID-19, to the point where that illness can no longer spread within a population. So that means enough of you within that. So I think it's 67% is what they were looking at, means that you will have herd immunity. So you are then at a level where you will not be spreading the disease to such an extent. I think we've got herd immunity with many other diseases and things that we are vaccinated against in that. But yes, COVID's one that we don't have yet. So what proportion of South Africans need to be protected for the current country to reach herd immunity for COVID-19? And there's also different ways of calculating it. I have left it in the comments down below. There are all my links for all my sources, because if you take a look here, well, first of all, I've never claimed, and I do not claim that I own any of my material that I use. It is owned by the individual people that I have read or looked at from, but I put the full articles there so that no one can say, well, you clipped it. But there's a lot more behind the herd immunity, because it tries to explain to you that, I think it's the Johnson & Johnson, or that is like 95%, and then you go to Pfizer, which would be like a 55 or a 60%. Now, if you put 67% of people immunized with like a Pfizer, and it's 55 or 60%, you actually only have a herd immunity of 42% or 45%. And if you have the 95% one, then you've got a herd immunity, and 67%, then you're running a herd immunity of about 65% or something to that effect. So it also depends on the effectivity or the effective percentage of the vaccination or vaccine itself. But anyway, for basic purposes, herd immunity means that enough people have been inoculated or protected to the point where the illness can no longer spread. So what portion of South Africa needs to be protected for the country to reach herd immunity? Short answer, we don't know exactly the exact figure. But it is estimated that a 60 to 70% of South African populations would need to have immunity in order to reach the threshold, the point at which the virus is no longer spreading. Some scientists, however, believe that the threshold need is actually higher. So I believe a good 60, 70%. I'm with that. I'm just like, but yeah, I'm happy with that point there. But now we get to choosing vaccine. Why is it not as simple as vaccinating 67% of the population? because getting a jab doesn't automatically secure protection from the virus. This is where the efficacy of a vaccine comes in. Vaccine efficacy provides an indication of what someone's risk is of getting, of infecting post-immunization. So effectiveness. And here's the example. I see I did put it in. The Pfizer was one of the first COVID jabs to release its efficacy at 95%. So Pfizer says it's 95% fit. You still got a 5% chance of contracting it. This doesn't mean that 95% of people are protected in a population with the vaccine. Rather, this number shows how much the jab is able to reduce your risk of getting infected. So those that receive the vaccine were 95% less likely to get COVID. Basically exactly what we said. If you get a Pfizer, you are likely to get it, 5% likely to get sick, 95% protected. But the efficacy of jabs differ. Pfizer offers one of the highest levels of protection. Because of this, the proportion of a population that needs to be vaccinated against COVID so that the disease no longer spreads, so that herd immunity is achieved, is different for each vaccine. The Lancet published a paper in November 2020, estimated that even with a vaccine efficacy of 80%, you would still need to immunize between 75 to 90% of a population, and lower efficacies would require vaccinating the entire population. So at a 95% efficacy, which you are needing to reach then 67 to 70%, you would need to have, or say, you need to get immunities between 75%. You would need to immunize at least 90%. So how many people does South Africa need to vaccinate? So now we want to know. So we know that we need to reach herd immunity, and we need to immunize probably more than the percentage that we need to achieve to be able to achieve herd immunity. So the Johnson & Johnson vaccine initially announced an efficiency of 57% in South Africa, where the majority of cases were as a result of the 501YV2 variant, .V2. A new analysis shared by the United States Food and Drug Administration on 26th of February shows that the jab actually has a higher efficacy of 64% in South Africa. So basically the Johnson & Johnson one that you're looking at has got a 64% efficacy. So you still got a 36% chance, but much, much higher chance of not contracting it. So with South Africa's plan to immunize 67% of the population, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine would give you a population immunity level of 42%. So if we immunized 67% with the Johnson & Johnson, we would in South Africa have a 42% immunity level, which is still too low for herd immunity. As we know, we've just said we needed a 67% immunization of herd immunity. You see how intricate this is starting to become. You need to have more and more and more done. All of a sudden, people are going, well, this is not just going to go away, is it? No, it's not. You have 60 million people to vaccinate. So let's take a look. The Pfizer vaccine, excuse me, which will also be used for South Africa's rollout, has a 95% efficacy, as previously mentioned. Now, I don't want to put my money down somewhere, but I don't know how much Pfizer South Africa will get. Because first of all, if it has a 95% efficacy, Pfizer is going to be very, very popular. It's also going to be very, very expensive. South Africa can't even pay for what it can get. It's begging for handouts. So if you get Pfizer, kudos for you. But you're probably going to end up with a Johnson & Johnson one in South Africa. The Pfizer jab would therefore provide around about 64. So South Africa's rollout is 95%. The Pfizer jab would therefore provide for 64% immunity with our current target of vaccinating 2/3 of the population. You see the difference. If you have 67% of the Johnson & Johnson, you have 42% immunity. And if you have 67% of the Pfizer, you have a 64% immunity. But we don't yet have the trial data on how the vaccine performs against the new variants identified in the country. Lab studies, however, indicate that the 501Y.V2 variant could lower the Pfizer's jab efficiency. Lower the jab efficiency, lower the immunity. Needs to increase the vaccinations that need to be done to be able to achieve herd immunity. So as we see with Johnson & Johnson, which means the immunity provided on our population level is likely to be lower than the 64% in South Africa. Vaccination alone won't guarantee the end of the pandemic, but we have the ability to reduce the spread of this virus locally, explains Schkobe. I wasn't stuttering. I was just trying to pronounce Schkobe. The answer then is human behavior will also have to contribute, he says. The use of safety measures like washing hands, physical distancing can reduce the spread of the virus and bring South Africa's reproductive number low enough that we could reach herd immunity through vaccination. Yes, South Africa's got a reproductive problem because the ANC, of course, said, make babies so that we can get voters. And, of course, no one actually realized that so many babies are going to have less money, are going to not be educated, are going to be poor, and the only thing that they can think of is make more babies. So now we've got a serious problem of population explosion, and yeah, getting to herd immunity is going to be even worse. But yes, it's almost like we're going to have to live unemotional, impersonal lives. You can't give someone a nice big hug anymore. You can't kiss someone hello. You can't hug someone. You can't hold someone. It's, you know, 1.5 meters elbow mask. You know, you'd probably be telling people stories one day about the days that were there when you didn't have to wear a mask. So let's look at COVID in South Africa. What have we learned so far about vaccine and the economy? Economically, socially, and psychologically, humankind is in a race to attain herd immunity before the virus has a chance to mutate into new vaccine-resistant strains. Because, as we also know, I think we're going for the third wave somewhere along the line, which is a third different strain, and it is really, really hard to keep the efficacies up of the vaccines to be able to take down the new strains. We have now learned that herd immunity is needing to be vaccinated about 67%, depending on the efficacy of your vaccine. And that means you will have enough people immune to the disease to stop the spread of it. The South African government has been completely lacking, listen to this, completely lacking in this essential area. Similar economies and countries are leagues ahead of South Africa. Problem, it is really a concern when a country as strong and as above board as South Africa was, I sadly cannot say it is so anymore, is now such a pathetic state. A depressing state of affairs that was both avoidable and inexcusable. According to Bloomberg, thus far, South Africa has inoculated 147,000. As we saw, the current on the advisors, only 200 and something thousand. So it's not very much more than when it was there, 147,753 people, which is 0.25% of the population. You're wanting to get to a 67, 70%, a glacial rate which will take more than 10 years to reach the 75% that you actually need to reach to make efficacy at the correct level to be able to get herd immunity. More than 10 years. South Africa needs to get this right. President Ramaphosa needs to tell South Africans what jabs are safe, when they will be rolled out, who will do it, and what the order of recipients will be. It's a big shit show at the moment. Who's going to take it? Who's not going to take it? Who's getting it? Are we getting it? Do we have enough to get it? And then 200,000, really? As I said, little country, Cambodia, started far long after, only after February, say March. Bam, they're on 1.2 million. They're not taking no chances. But yeah, we can't do that. Second, when it comes to the strategies for rolling out jabs, there is not one perfect system, but countries must leverage off the existing strengths in their healthcare system. So we've got to start using our strengths. There is no perfect system. So you've got to start using strength. Listen to what it says here. Israel has a world-beating private vaccine network that was perfect for the job. Now, Israel's vaccinated over 50% of their population already, just by the by. Private vaccine network that was perfect for the job. The UK used its centralized public national health service to roll it out nationally. Europe, by contrast, has been a shit show. Yeah, it's been a mess. The the EU and national governments have looked to the usually dependable regional health system, resulting in a lack of coordination. Now, Italy has reversed course and will be using the army to build the vaccine logistic chains. South Africa, now listen, and you know what, if I could get Ramaphosa on here and say, listen to me, President Ramaphosa. South Africa has a world-beating private healthcare system. A world-beating private healthcare system. First world health insurers, and in Aspen, a world-class vaccine manufacturer. The government should look to empower these capabilities to deliver vaccines nationally. Let's put it backwards, sorry. I'm just going to actually go back to that first. The government should look to empower these capabilities to deliver vaccines nationally. The problem with South Africa is, and I don't want to mince words, and I'm not racist in saying yeah, but you cannot sit with a vaccine and go, well, we've got to ensure that black empowerment works from this. We need to ensure that black companies benefit from this. It needs to be distributed on a BEE circulation way. Nobody. You're playing with the lives of your country, of your people. You take the most effective. Be it black, you take it. Be it non-black, you take it. And you put it into play. You need to use the strongest capabilities. Sadly, you have it, but you're not using it. And that is the shocking, traumatic, sad part of South Africa, is the infrastructure and the ability is there. But the intellect to use it is not. I'm sorry, that intellect is lacking in the ANC, because the intellect to use the proper structures to actually lay out these, roll out these vaccines, is there. But they are too stupid to use it because they are chasing after BEE, they are chasing after black empowerment, they want black companies to benefit, they want their buddies to benefit, they want to see where they get the next buck from. And in the meantime, people are dying. In the meantime, they are not reaching herd immunity. I go back to saying exactly, South Africa has inoculated so far 147,000, which is 0.25% of the population, a glacial rate at which it will take more than 10 years to reach its 75%. That is mad. That is absolutely mad. Thirdly, the vaccine needs to be rolled out fast. We can't play. It needs to happen, guys. You've been playing January, February, March. I must say it. I once again look at Cambodia and I say, this small little country suddenly realized things aren't working, and bam. Yeah, they've run out. They're getting more in again, but South Africa run out. They can't. They don't know. And who's being empowered by this? So it needs to be rolled out fast. The lesson for South Africa is don't try to do it perfectly, just do it. Now, I don't think they're trying to do it perfectly. I think they're trying to perfectly benefit themselves and politicize life-saving medication. Finally, and I like this part, there is nothing more important. Forget about saving the economy, because when there's people dead, you've got nothing to save. SAA, they're standing on the ground. How much money do you want to pump into something that's not being used at the moment? Talk about them later. The Zondo Commission, free university tuition, they're all going to die if you don't actually, if you're going to try and now put in free tuitions. Even Eskom. All these things are trivial compared with getting out of the pandemic. Right now, South Africa is in the calm before the storm of the third wave. This is likely to hit as the country heads into winter. As we know, colder it gets, the more prevalent it is for the virus to spread, which along with the virulent new strains could make the most deadly and destructive yet. Could make it the most deadly and destructive yet. My apologies. This is the moment the government should be using to get vaccines out. Right now, you should be getting them out. Let's hope that at some point, someone in the government will realize this. The DM is for Daily Maverick 168. But let's hope that somebody, yes, we can only hope and pray that somebody in the South African government wakes up, smells the coffee and goes, hey, maybe we should actually start caring about vaccine life-saving. Forget about the rest. So how's South Africa's COVID-19 vaccine program compared to other countries? South Africa's COVID-19 vaccination program is lagging behind a host of other countries worldwide and has fallen behind at least 6 African countries, a Bloomberg Global Vaccine Tracker shows. Out of 168 countries that have begun administering the COVID-19 vaccine, which is South Africa is one, South Africa places 79 on the list as of the 5th of April, after vaccinating just 0.5% of the population. And once again, we refer back, we've got the infrastructure, we've got the powers to do it, we've got the ability to do it. The intellect is lacking here. In fact, African countries, now listen to this, African countries, South Africa, which was the most advanced country in Africa, is lagging behind African countries such as Morocco, Nigeria, Ghana, Rwanda, Kenya, Senegal have vaccinated more people than South Africa. Not percentages, more people. It's mad. It's mad that South Africa is so stupid. Not South Africa. The ANC government is so stupid that it is happy to rule over corpses and still claim itself a success. According to the Bloomberg tracker, to reach 75% of the population, the point at which life would return to normal at the current rate of vaccination, it would take South Africa 10 years. So South Africa, at the current rate that you're going, you are going to be wearing masks, greeting each other with the elbow, keeping 1.5 meter distances, not being able to buy alcohol, curfewing home, and living in fear of dying from a respiratory disease for the next 10 years. Courtesy your government. At the current rate, now listen to this now, South Africa's 10 years. At the current rate of vaccine rollout, the US will vaccinate 75% of its population within 3 months. 3 months. South Africa's taking 10 years. Chile within 4 months, the UK 5 months, and the world in itself, the world average, 1.8 years. So if not by the end of this year, by the end of next year, most of the world is sorted. Except for our special children in South Africa who cannot think. According to our World in Data, South Africa administered 272,438 COVID-19 vaccines, mostly to frontline health workers, as of April 6. In comparison, Morocco, so just listen to this one again. As of April 6, South Africa administered 272,438 COVID-19 vaccines, mostly to frontline health workers. Morocco administered 8.38 million, Nigeria 964,000, Ghana 500,000, Rwanda, war-torn freaking country, 348,000. Sucking on the hind tit. Why are we voting for these people? Just a bit of a tracker there as well. We look, vaccine tracker, this is updated on the 5th of April. Time to 75% vaccination at a current rate. The USA, 3 months, and they hit 75% of their population. Chile, 4 months. The UK, 5 months. Canada, 10 months. Brazil, 10 months. The EU, who's had a mess of a start, 1 year. China, which has an overpopulation, 1.1 years. The world in general, 1.8 years. Even Russia, that is sucking on the hind tit, 1.9 years. We should be done and dusted in 2 years' time. South Africa, more than 10 years at the current rate that we are going. Path to immunity around the world. Globally, the latest vaccination rate is 16,541,292 doses per day. On average, at this pace, it will take another 21 months to cover 75% of the population. 21 months, still within a 2-year window. So if we're taking a look at vaccination and the world average of population, world average to achieve 75% of the population vaccinated. 2 years. 2 years it's done. South Africa, more than 10 years. I didn't get to put all of this in because well, first of all, I just don't think I've got the time for it, and I didn't want to ramble it too much. But I was looking at different aspects of what people were saying. And I know there was a guy from Zimbabwe as well, and he said the same thing's happening in South Africa. When you need to budget for something, you need to get something, you need to do something. You don't have to worry about it. They are used to handouts. He said, they budget and they went, oh, you know what? Our food budget's a bit low. And they said, nah, don't worry about the food budget. It's cool. The World Food Organization or World Food Rescue Team, whatever, they'll bring food in about 9 months. And so help me, they didn't budget for it. And 9 months, the next thing, the World Food is helping hand or whatever was bringing in food. And I think it's the same thing with South Africa. You know what? We don't have to budget there. Let's move money here. You know what? Because so-and-so is going to come and throw in some aid over here. And this one's going to come and help out over here. And they'll donate vaccines over here. And if we pay this over there, and you know what? We can take that and spend it on some cars or put it into our back pockets because somebody's going to come and give us. They're too used to standing with their hands like that. And they're not ashamed to do it. Here's the share of people who received at least one dose of vaccination. So this is of your population. Now, you'll see that Botswana, Australia, Kenya, Zimbabwe, New Zealand are pretty low as well. But these guys aren't sitting with the problem South Africa is sitting with. They're actually sitting with very low numbers as well. But South Africa is lying at the bottom with 0.5% of their of the population. Botswana 0.6, Australia 0.6, Kenya 0.6, Zimbabwe 1%, New Zealand 1.5%. I mean, you got war-torn Zimbabwe at double the amount of South Africa already. The world is sitting at an average of 5.4%. Cambodia, and I specifically put it in because this graph you can actually put in and take out on. And I specifically put it in because I wanted to show you that a country that is also running as a third world country, that is also struggling, that has also got all the same, facing all the same challenges that South Africa does, is 5% higher in a shorter time. India, 6.2. Ireland, 13.8. And 6.2 for India is a heck of a lot because there's a ton of people there. Ireland, 13.8. Germany, 14. 14.9 for France. US, 34%. Chile, 34%. The UK, 47%. Take a look at Israel, guys. Israel ran with it 61% of their population vaccinated. And keep your eye on Cambodia. I don't think these guys are going to sit for long at a 5%. But I'm very, very interested to see at what these idiots are doing in South Africa because the country is being run to pieces. Absolutely. Absolutely run to pieces. I don't know if we're going to bring in anything more, but yes, I'm going to leave it at that. I had another thing on the cigarettes, nothing really, really hectic. Just that I think it was 47 million rands worth, or 4 million, or whatever million rands worth of cigarettes. Let's take a look what it said. Let's just go back. 18 million rands worth of cigarettes were destroyed. Tragic. Illegal cigarettes going to, they started the illegal trade by banning it in the first place. And secondly, most of them are government officials have got a hand in it anyway. So it's just their pocket money and change that's been taken out. The thing today is that we've got to take a look at is that, first of all, I think we need to make peace with the fact that vaccination is inevitable. It's not a matter of should I or shouldn't I. There's no robots in vaccination. There's no 5G pickup in vaccination. And if you think that somebody wants to trace your every move, how important do you think you are that somebody needs to trace your moves? How important do you think you are that someone needs to read all your emails? You're pretty paranoid and a little bit arrogant to figure that one out. But anyway, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying how important do you think you are that you mean anything, unless you're seriously doing something wrong? Secondly, it's inevitable. Still, we need to vaccinate. We've got to take the time to sit down and make peace with the fact that it's not the mark of the beast. It's not what you pay with. It's not what is counting you. It is what is going to allow you to move around, yes. But it is also going to allow you to live. I think you are naive if by now you think that there isn't a real virus around and that it's just a common cold. I myself believe that if you recover at home, you're more likely to live than if you go to hospital. My opinion, but I've still had the vaccination. I have my card. I wanted to throw it around here, but I've got to go and fetch it now if I need to do so. But I'll show it to you after I've had my second shot. I think South Africa needs to pull their fingers out of their asses. I think they're going to start thinking about their people instead of their back pockets. I think they've got to put politics, they've got to put race, they've got to put economy, they've got to put everything aside and start concentrating on getting life-saving vaccines to their people. You can't start wanting to know whose company is being empowered with what and who's going to benefit and who's not going to benefit. The infrastructure's there. Take it, use it, fly with it. You're not going to have an economy to live, make or break. Your majority is unemployed. The majority of the unemployed are black people because they are the majority. The majority who are going to die are going to be black people because they are the majority in the country. It just works that way. If you have the lion's share, the lion's share is going to affect you. Do you want to kill so many people? You know what? You can leave all white people to die out if you want to, but still, you are going to have more black people than white people die in the end. Do you understand that? And then what is going to happen to the economy? It's not a black and white situation anymore. It's not an Indian, colored, black, white, whatever situation. It is a human being life situation. Use the scenario, the resources that are there and distribute it and get it out now. This is what you can get. This is where you can get it. This is when you can get it. I mean, I had last week, I bam, registered all my guys onto the site. Tuesday, pushed out there, bam, there we are. Got our cards, first vaccine in, etc. Date that you're coming back for, and Bob's your uncle. And now it has been made mandatory. South Africa cannot afford 10 years of this pandemic. Even if they are sitting with a government who sees success as ruling over ashes and now corpses of a country that's died. I really agree with the saying. don't know if the ANC will survive the next election, but if they do, I don't know if South Africa will survive then I don't know if South Africa will survive. Because if the ANC survives, I don't think South Africa will. I really hope that somehow, even with our low education system, we are able to educate the majority of people. There's only one, you know what, like it, hate them, like them, hate them, they get results. It's the most balanced run party at the moment, and that's your DA. And you know what, stop splintering off there. The more you splinter off there, the more you throwing your country into a very, very deep chasm. You know, I'm not proing DA here. I'm just saying it's pure logic, guys. Go and vote for the Pink Party and the Kiss Party and the Lollipop Party and the Lily Party, and all of these things is votes that are just being given to the ANC. Because you already have a major lump sum of uneducated, poor people who vote ANC. They have the right to vote, and they are bought with a T-shirt and a food parcel every 4 years. So if you're educated, for heaven's sake, take a look at what is happening when your life means so little. Literally, your life means so little. It's not a matter of, oh, I'm struggling to pay my fuel, which, by the way, South Africa is now paying the highest they've ever paid for fuel, but it's not even that. And when fuel goes up, food goes up, transport goes up, you name it, everything goes up. But that's for another time. All I'm saying is, guys, really, really, really think about it and don't be stupid. Please like and subscribe. Share, that's the only way I can get it out. I would really, really appreciate any ideas. Drop me a mail, pepperzecho@gmail.com, peprsEcho@gmail.com. I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. You're watching the live echo. My name is Andre. Don't forget, next week, I have Ronaldo Channel with me. I am really, really looking forward to it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys out there as well. Otherwise, take care, be good. If you can't be good, at least be kind. Cheers.